Laura, can you confirm you see my slides?
Yes, I see your slides.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. Let me minimize this. All right. Welcome to our today's session. We are going to cover BI 4.2's 30 features in 30 minutes. Now, SAP BI 4.2 was released in March of 2016. So it's been like about 4 years now, many service packs, patches, hot fixes later. And majority of the customers, what we have seen is they are going to remain in 4.2 for the next few years. Although 4.3 is released this year, it takes time for 4.3 to get stabilized. And there are major changes in the way reports are designed on how 4.3 is really implemented. So 4.3 will be supported until 2025. That's what the roadmap says currently. And then in BI 4.2, there are a lot of helpful features. And the features that I'm going to cover today can be helpful for you if you're an administrator, or if you're a Universe developer, or if you're a Webby report developer. So I've split 30 features into like 3 different categories. And if time permits, maybe we get to a demo of selected features. If you have any questions, maybe answer in the chat window and I'll show those features. Or I have like another 15 features, so we can go for like 45 features towards the end once we complete the 30. So let's jump right into the administrators features. So the number one feature that was introduced in 4.2, which I personally like as an administrator, is the BI Administrators Cockpit. So this is a new application which was added to the CMC in the platform, where this cockpit enables an administrator to collect the basic data about your BI 4.2 system. It essentially means deriving business intelligence from within your data or whatever you have in an admin cockpit. So here you can see what are your top 10 highly used reports, who are the users who have logged in, and it gives that cockpit view where you can log in every day, you can see what's happening in your system. It's exactly as the name suggests, a cockpit where you see things, then you can address things right away from your content usage and the application if you want to restart servers and other stuff. And the number 2 feature, which I like, is the recycle bin, because the recycle bin now, if you've accidentally deleted any document, this can be restored with the recycle bin that's available here. And only public folders content is supported, and documents can be automatically removed after a threshold. Say, example, you can set up a threshold for like 30 days. I want anything that's been deleted accidentally or even purposefully should be saved for another 30 days. And after 30 days, these are like automatically deleted, and only corporate documents are supported and the personal folders are not supported currently. And the other thing that I personally like is the CMS Driver and the Universe that came with it. And because one of the most requested feature by platform administrator is this easy to use reporting and analysis solution for the CMS database, because previously some of you know that you've been using a query builder, right? And now with this new CMS database, or the universe that comes with it, you can use a universe and a native reporting client to query your metadata of the CMS repository database. And these come in a particular folder location. And in the references, I've given the exact folder location on where you can find the CMS driver universes. I have another entire set of a blog where it documents on how you use the CMS driver and universes. So this can be very helpful for reporting your usage or connecting to your central management server. Here's the location of the LCMBR file that needs to be enabled, and it comes with a prepackaged set of reports called the BI on BI reports. What are your top 10 schedules, or how do you use your publications, or how do you use a particular user? So this is how you can do your user usage analysis for your CMS driver as well. And as an understanding of how your BI platform is used and utilized will enable an administrator to take necessary steps to improve the reliability, the performance. In other words, you need like more auditing capabilities or to report on the auditing database itself. So similar to the CMS driver, you now have a BI platform audit analysis universe and a set of reports that come with it as well. And then you have like an enhanced audit feature that comes in 4.2 where you can have like, okay, you can select a user group detail and it will capture what are the things that the user does within a particular event. If this is left unchecked, it will still capture the login event. But when you select the user group details, you can get to the level of detail where what are the exact things that a particular user in this group is doing within the system. So you can exactly track a particular user with the audit user. And Then comes our promotion management. And within the promotion management, earlier when you had the LCM beer file and what you call as the lifecycle management, you published a particular LCM beer file, but say a beer file that you backed up from the system has about like 100 web intelligence reports, but you need only one web intelligence report from that backup. You didn't have a way prior to 4.2. You either get everything from a beer file or you don't have a way to select a particular object. Now, in 4.2, you can have a selective retrieval of objects from this LCM beer file. And you don't have this Flash dependency, and because some of you might have questions that, by end of December 2020, Flash is going to go away. A lot of things that's running within the CMC is Flash-based. So how is SAP going to support? So in all the service packs that's been coming since 4.2 SP3, the Flash dependency has been removed for these sort of applications. So that way there's lesser load on App Server, plus after December 2020, you'll still have access to these applications. So there'll be no Flash with 4.2, SP8, or SP7 applications itself. And then comes our new promotion management wizard. So this is a tool that aims to ease the task of the CMS content copy. So instead of using that command line interface for like using promotion management and doing a bulk copy or restore, now you have a separate tool that comes with the installation. So you go to promotion management wizard, you get several options on how you can enable a mass copy of your CMS content. And this requires no scripting or no coding for using this particular tool. Then number 6 comes our BI admin console. This is also a new feature that was released, I believe, in BI 4.2 SP05, where you'll find this new application called BI admin console. You can access it by your port number /BOE/BI admin console. So what it does is it supports or it automates certain workflows, such as changing the document ownership or changing the Webby report. Say there's a Webby report or a set of Webby reports that are pointed to your UNV universes, and now you want to convert, or you've converted your UNV to UNXs, but you want to repoint all your Webby reports to this UNX universe. Now you can use this sort of an admin console feature. So it's a container for like improvised versions of your administration applications. And as of now, you see only like landscape management and automation framework applications within the admin console. Number 7 comes the server group exclusivity. So this has been heavily used by people who schedule a lot of reports. Say there is a certain set of reports that you have to send to your C-level executives, and no matter what, even if you have like a high group of users or a set of reports that are being scheduled in the morning, you need server availability for certain set of reports. The servers added to this exclusive group will be excluded from the common pool, and they'll be dedicated for these set of reports. So you'll see that set scheduling server group when you schedule a particular report, and you can assign a server group exclusivity to a particular folder as well. So anybody who's within that particular user group can use these server groups that are exclusive for that set of users. So that comes really handy for timely delivery of your reports itself. Then comes our scheduling features. So within the schedule itself, say if you want to disable a user to schedule to a file system, or disable a user to schedule to their own inbox, or SFTP or FTP, now you have a particular security setting so that you can disable certain destinations for a particular user group. And another scheduling feature here is to email from the BI platform, where you can have a custom header in the recipient header. So if you're using BusinessObjects publication, this comes in really handy for using a custom HTML type header as well. And specific to scheduling, now you have like 2 new schedule statuses. So for Webby reports that are partially refreshed or partially run, now you have this warning as a status, and then you have the expired status as well. Reports when the object has passed certain time or like a maximum number of retries, it goes into this expired stage. So you can set up like certain delivery rules when you schedule a report, whether you want to go into the warning stage or you want to go into the fail stage. Now this combined with the admin cockpit will give you a quick view of, okay, what exactly happened to a reporting schedule. Okay, and then you have the authentication configuration. So this is straightforward. Instead of having like several authentication types, now you can go in and then select a visible list, and decide which are the ones that you want to see in the BI Launchpad or the CMC for your authentication configuration. And then you have like user notification features where, say, there's a production system that you take down for an upgrade. You can notify the users a week ago by setting up a user notification, which will show up on their BI Launchpad, and then users get notified that, okay, by Saturday, the system will be down. So sometimes they miss emails and other stuff, right? And same way, when you delete a user, you'll get this kind of a notification. These are just enhancements to user notification section. So that's about the admin features. And now let's jump into a universe developer feature, filtering objects in IDT. We all know that the universe gets really complex when you have like 20+ tables in your data foundation, and then you have certain aliases, and then you create everything into your business layer. A universe gets really complex, and that's what a universe is made for. So in the data foundation editor, now you can click on the filters icon on the toolbar, and then it opens like this model dialog box where you can filter the tables displayed in the data foundation side panel. And same with the business layer. You can click there, and then you click on the filter icon and select which tables do you want to search, what type of tables do you want to search, what type of security you want to search. So you have options on what to select for searching certain tables or the table objects within the IDT, which is business layer and the data foundation. And then comes the refresh structure, right? When you have a table in your data foundation, there can be several reasons that you change the table name, you change the column name, you change the data type of the column, and you want to do a refresh structure on the IDT side. Now you have a replace column instead of just removing and adding a new column. Say there is a column and then you change the name of the column. In the older versions, when you refresh the structure, it'll say, okay, this column doesn't exist in the database, and it'll remove it from the universe. Now you have an option to replace this column by a new column in this refresh structure. And then you have selective refresh for the universe itself. So when something is missing, you can select, okay, don't refresh all the other tables. I just need like 3 other tables because I know what has changed in the universe. So you can make that selection here as well. And then stored procedures support was added in BI 4.2 SP3, and in the recent versions, there's been enhancements added to the stored procedure itself, where you can now control who's authorized to use stored procedures in IDT, because you want to avoid a lot of users using stored procedures, and you want to bring in the exact data foundation tables into the universe. So you can set up a security right on who gets the access to insert a stored procedure. And same refresh structure rules apply for the stored procedure here as well. And then comes linked universes. One of the main reasons that people never upgraded from 4.1 or the older versions to 4.2 was that linked universes were not supported in the initial versions or in 4.1 as well. So in 4.2 SP3, you had like linked universe support, and then there are a lot of enhancement features that were added to linked universes. So now majority of the customers that we work with have migrated from XI 3.1 into 4.2 because linked universes are now supported. And to make the life of a universe designer easier, I mean, there's so many complex tables, or the way the IDT data foundation layer looks, there are some enhancement features on, how do you want to align the table? So you can click on the align icon over here, and then it shows like, okay, how to align this particular set of tables. And then you can display or like toggle the display here as well. And then it shows like, okay, is it collapsed or is it joins? You can make that display when you right click here. And then when you have like multiple views within the data foundation over here, you can have the go-to menu and then select and go to which view. And you have like a summary view that's completely separate in the latest version of SP7 that was added in a separate view. So that's about displaying data foundations. And connectivity especially. Do we have any questions on Laura? Sorry, I see some. Are we good?
We had a question come in. It says, what was the managed subscriptions? He didn't want me to interrupt you, but since you stopped, I can ask you.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you want to take a look at it in the chat here, it says, what was the managed subscriptions ? If you could go back to that section.
Manage subscriptions. Okay.
That would be part of publications, Rajesh. Did you?
Publications. Okay. Okay. That is about the custom headers that were added to the publications. So that's what I have for the managed subscriptions. Right. So you can add now a custom header into the subscription. So that way you can bring into the header. I didn't have any specific thing to subscription. Maybe let's handle that offline kind of thing. Okay.
All right. And then we did have a question come in Q&A here. It's asking, with user notification in the CMC, it requires the email address be included on the user account. If the CMC is set up to send from a default email address, the user account email address needs to be empty so that it doesn't override the default email. Is there a way to override this to send out user notification?
No, there's no way to override the user notification, but instead of sending it as an email, so you display things within the user group section. So you can have a particular user group have that user notification, and then it displays when the user logs in into the BI Launchpad. So that's what I meant by the user notification feature. Okay.
Great.
Maybe I'll proceed because I have a lot to cover. Maybe we'll cover the questions later. I think I'm running short of time already. Okay. Because there's like some more cool features with web intelligence, and then that provides a good segue for what Michael Ward and Ronali is going to cover in the next few sessions. Okay, so connectivity. One of the main things that was introduced in 4.2 SP8 was connecting to Snowflake, the cloud data warehouse platform that is now supported with 4.2 SP8. Apart from that, they have like a lot more connectivity options specific to SQL Server Azure DB. So that's a cloud data warehouse or database as well. PostgreSQL, that was also added to 4.2 SP6. Some of you might think like what is the exact use case for PostgreSQL? For customers who are using Tableau, you might know that Tableau comes with the PostgreSQL database. So now if you want to report more on like auditing within Tableau databases, here's an option of creating a universe specific to PostgreSQL database and then start reporting on top of it. And then Teradata, Hive, which is the Amazon data warehouse solution, and then SQL Server 2017. So these are some new connectivity options for the universe itself. And then now it's possible to create or duplicate an existing data security or business security profile. This was released in SP6. So that way, once you create a data security profile, you don't have to recreate things from scratch. So if you use the users or groups view or the universe and profiles view, you can select and now duplicate this data security profile, or you can even duplicate the business security profile. So that saves a ton of time when you have a complex data security or business security profile that you've created. And then comes universe documentation. Now, once you have a particular universe, this is something that you already know. You can do a save as in IDT, and then you can export it into a PDF, HTML, or a text file, which will document all the objects within the universe. What's been enhanced in the recent SP7 or SP8 versions is that you can now get your folder name, your folder descriptions, your filter descriptions. Anything that you add in the description field now gets added to this documentation as well. So every now and then when I work with my universes, I take several documents and I can compare these documents, which is outside of the BO repository. And then there's a feature to lock and unlock universe. When you have like multiple developers within your organization, you can now retrieve the universe and lock the universe so that when the second user comes in, they know that, okay, somebody is working on this universe, so I shouldn't be doing or changing anything with the universe. So here is a lock, unlock universe that comes in. Apart from this, there are some more enhancement or usability enhancements, as they call it. Like you can click on the particular filter, and now you can say like use filter as a mandatory to query. So once you do this, you will see that the icon changes to like a hash or like a colored icon. So you know that this is a mandatory filter. And then when you open the session, now you can have a description for the session. You can click on the show SQL for like every SQL expression editor. And then you can now get a local project. Previously, when you retrieve a particular universe, you should have already created a project and only then it'll place it in that particular universe. Now you can create a project on the fly while retrieving a universe. This is something that I felt really useful because you don't want to retrieve a universe and place it in some other project where it's not related to. So initially you start with the project and then do a retrieve, but now you can create the project on the fly directly. And some other features where you can see the password by clicking on the show password option. And then when you have a particular system already configured in your repository, you can do a copy system name and then have it as well. And plus you can duplicate objects within a business layer. So what's the use of this duplicate? You don't have to press a copy and a paste for an object. So within one option, now it will duplicate automatically within a business layer object. So when you create formulas or any other objects within your IDT business layer, this duplicate comes in handy. Okay, now we're going to switch to Web Intelligence. I do have a lot more features specific to Web Intelligence. I'll cover 10, and then I'll quickly rush through some of the Fiori features, but then a lot of things are changing with 4.3. But let's get to some of the important features specific to Webby and 4.2. Here is a Webby OpenDoc URL feature, and this is a particular tag that you can add to your OpenDoc URL. Now, the default behavior for an OpenDoc URL is that it'll display all the prompts, either mandatory or the optional one, and prompt with the value set in the URL are displayed within the URL because you have to send it in the URL. And if all mandatory prompts are set in the URL, the prompts dialog box is not displayed, right? Now, there are two new options in BI 4.2, which is the NAII equals Y. I'm not sure about the full form, but there is a exact acronym full form for NAII, where when you have the Y option, it will display only the prompts that must be answered. In other words, the mandatory prompts with value set in the URL, only those will show up. And then the optional prompts are not displayed. Okay, and if all mandatory prompts are set in the URL, the prompts dialog box will not be displayed. Okay, now there's another option where you can have A as a value to this, where it will display all the prompts, both mandatory and optional ones, and the values which are not set in the URL. Okay, so here the prompts will not be displayed. So with these two combinations, now you can play with how you want to create an OpenDoc URL. Now, where this comes handy is using Web Intelligence integrated with other applications. I've shown examples where from a Tableau dashboard or from Power BI dashboard, you can have an OpenDoc URL link from a dashboard to a Web Intelligence. That's where this comes in really handy. And there are other customers who create dashboards within Web Intelligence. A lot of customers do this now. And once you create a dashboard within Web Intelligence, you want this to be, say, projected on a big screen. You have a new report mode called Light, where it doesn't have all the Webby jargons or the Webby logos that come with it. And you also can create a kiosk mode in Chrome, where it's like a full screen. So you can display a Webby dashboard on a full screen without any SAP BI Launchpad logos to it. And then with this report mode equals Light, it'll look like a proper custom dashboard that gets displayed on a big screen. So that's where this report mode Light comes in handy. And then comes a lot of features specific to our input controls. One thing that you might already know is there's cascading input control support within Web Intelligence in 4.2. So you can create cascading input controls, such as selecting a state and only the cities pertaining to a particular state shows up in the second input control and other things, right? Now, here is a way to sort the input controls as well. So once you create an input control, now you can sort the values within input control by ascending, descending, or any other value here as well. And then you can also sort it based on a variable, right? What if you don't want ascending or descending, and say there is a input variable, a user enters a value, and that's the value that needs to go into this input control as the first selection. You have this value of selecting a variable as well, and then you can bring in that variable within that input control. And when you log into a Web Intelligence report, say there are a lot of features that show up for a Webby report developer. There might be some power users, and you might have business users where you want to restrict what they want to do within this Web Intelligence user interface. That's where this customization comes in really handy, where now you can customize or hide commands in this right-click menu, right? Now, this customization applies only in the design mode. So once you get into the design mode, say you don't want a user to change any breaks or anything, so you can apply this sort of a customization for a particular user and group within Web Intelligence. And shared elements was introduced in the very first service pack of 4.2, but I still feel this is kind of an underutilized feature within Web Intelligence, because the main objective of a shared element is to simplify the report creation by saving and reusing commonly used report objects. I'd say you have a particular header. In the recent project that I worked with, and some of you who are familiar with Crystal reports, we had this method of saving a template in Crystal. Similarly, in a recent project, we had like a particular header that we saved as a particular report object, and we used it as a shared element, and we used it across all the reports that use the same header. And after like certain weeks into the project, we figured out the header needs to be changed. We had to make the change in one place, and it got reflected in all the other reports directly, right? So it can be a highly formatted report block, a chart, Geo Map, custom element, embedded pictures, anything can be included in a shared element. Another use case could be of like, say there is a highly complex query that you've created with many conditions, multiple subqueries or unions. That can be a shared element, and then you can bring it into all the other reports directly as well. So shared elements still has a long way to go in terms of the adoption rate within the users, where you can reuse Web Intelligence content created by other users. And specific to the shared element, you have this document property feature where you can select like a check for shared element updates on open. So that way, anything that you change in the shared element, you don't have to refresh the other Web Intelligence reports. Automatically, it'll bring in the change when you select this. And the commentary feature is also not being widely used amongst the customers. I've noticed that. So you can insert comments in Web Intelligence at different levels. You can do at the report level, you can do at the object level, or within a cell level. And you can authorize users who can add and remove comments. You can move comments to a separate database that you want to store. And you have options within the document properties where you can have like the first or last comment that is stored within the report as well. There has been several questions that I've faced where like once we export the report, does the comments come within the report, or what sort of things are added? So you can customize, or there are like certain limitations on what gets exported, but there is another object or a formula called comment colon, which can be used in your Webby formulas, where you can extract all the comments directly into it. Okay, Geo Maps were added in 4.2 as well, so this can be integrated. And here is an option where you can edit a particular dimension as a geo dimension. And similarly, you have a time dimension that can be edited once you have a particular time as well. So time and geo dimension hierarchy are like things that were added in 4.2. We do have view time filtering, which is based on a business security profile. So based on the user who logs in, you can have a different view that's connected to their business security profile. And then comes our document linking, where you can have like separate report tabs within Web Intelligence, and you can have this intra-document linking that can be combined directly into it. I think we are right on time. And what I'll do is I'll give these slides to Laura, so when it's posted, like you have a lot more features specific to Web Intelligence. The important part in these set of slides is the references that I've given here. So these are like SAP blogs and SAP use case articles. So you can go through these, and then this will give you an overview of what features are new, what are things that you find that are useful to your organization. So that will be really helpful. Right on time, Paul.
Hey, Rajesh, I mean, 30 in 30 minutes. I didn't think it was possible. You did it. Just totally amazing. And you know what? Each of those features could have taken up a separate 30-minute session, because there's so much in each of them. But absolutely phenomenal. I know we're short on time, so I'll hand back to Anna Laura, because I think there was one or two questions coming in.
Sure.
We had just a lot of good feedback in the chat. People are saying you're a rock star. We did have a question come in earlier asking about where you can send out notifications and access the notification features.
I'll quickly jump to the notification section. Okay, so here, once you go into the events section in your CMC, you will notice that there's a manage subscribers. Subscribers meaning who are the users who you're going to notify. So this is not the subscription feature or anything with the publication. So once you get to this manage subscriber feature, you will notice that you can add a particular message and then you can display it on the top over here, this section. This was the question if you got confused, correct?
Great. Well, thank you, Rajesh.